The boys were called edgy, told they'd never make it past 5 episodes. Here those podcast jerks are, back for season 2. The Boys in the Woods podcast. The show your mother warned you about, and that your dad was hiding in the basement listening to. Get ready for the Boys in the Woods podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we have a very special guest, Eddie Gorton, comedian.
Elementary school principal, yes.
Allegedly.
Also, the principal of comedy.
That's right. Principal of comedy.
Was the name given to you by a Valley Jesus?
Yes. So at an open mic way back in 2019, Valley Jesus said, "You are the principal of comedy," and the name stuck. I made sure it stuck.
Oh, it's a fantastic name. It's a fantastic. In the Army, I got stuck with the Canuck. I was from the UP, and I said A way too much. It took about 12 minutes, and I was the Canuck almost the rest of my life.
That's the rule when it comes to nicknames. You can't give it to yourself.
Otherwise, I just have everyone call me V. I just feel like it's the easiest in the world, but you don't pick your names, just pick your family. So, how's the weather over there? How's this year? It seems has been storms out the A, and us in the upper Midwest. We've had a random mild winter. Y'all on the West Coast are on the opposite side of that. How's everything been?
California weather is always amazing. You're right. We started the year off with some rain and some frigid weather. Not cold by your standards, but we're talking like 40s, which makes people panic.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm not old.
Day in Wisconsin.
What's that? 40
degrees.
Oh yeah, that's cargo shorts weather right there.
I went from today. It was 46 today.
Yeah.
I went from today.
I told my wife, I said, a few more days of this weather, and I'm wearing cargo shorts for the rest.
The panic button in LA when it drops below 65.
Yeah. That's snow down south too.
Yes.
To own an insurance company down south when it snowed, let me tell you. As I was scouting the internet for a Mr. Eddie Gorton, one thing I want to ask before we get started, how's the progress on that script/book going? Did it send out? Because I looked for it because I was reading Voyage LA did a piece on you March 9th, 2020.
Yes.
And you had mentioned it very shortly as the writing went about a book/script that you were 80%-ish completed with. How's that going?
So I'm working on a memoir of my life, if you will. I'm mid-40s, so it's time to look back and see how my life has gone. But I think I have a pretty interesting story. I was raised in an all-white household. So my mother's Irish. She remarried. My stepdad's Irish. I don't call him stepdad. My dad is Irish. Yeah. They had a daughter. My sister's Irish. It was just me and the black dog trying to figure shit out. You know what I'm saying? So,
I read that. I was laughing. It's like, shut up.
Yeah, so that's a true thing. It's like living your whole life as Eddie Haskell or Urkel or Kramer. Every time I walk in my house, I'm like, I'm on. And so a lot of funny stories from my childhood about being the only black guy in class, only black guy in my house. I'm trying to write it all down, and I'm real close. I'm real close to putting it out there, but I think it's a funny story.
Personally, I enjoy comedy from the POV standpoint. I enjoy hearing how you viewed moments in your life, because as I used to tell people all the time, listen, how I'm telling you this story isn't exactly how it may have happened, but it's definitely how I saw it. Right. So, and it tends to be a little bit funnier that way.
I think that's where comedy is at its strongest. I think that's where it's headed.
Yeah,
all these folks out there talking about someone stole a joke and this person stole my joke and the Cat Williams interview and Cedric the Entertainer and all these folks. None of that would happen if you just tell your own stories. So
exactly.
So I try to tell my own stories, and there's a lot of material when you work at an elementary school and when you have the life and childhood that I had. There's a lot of things to talk about.
What? Also in this piece, which it ended up being a very good piece, your first 4 months in teaching. That really jumped out at me when you were speaking about it in this piece as they had written it down. And my question with that was how much did that teach you from, and you could get into the backstory with it too for all the listeners out there that may not know. It seems like you were just handed the keys and you rolled with it, and it seemed like it really went well. But to me, it seemed it may have taught you more about yourself than what you had assumed you were going to be teaching.
Teaching is obviously such a crucial, important job. And the time that I got into it, there wasn't much job training other than figure it out. So I had graduated college. I got a job working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for 9 months. That's a whole other deep dive on how I left that position. But I knew I wanted to teach, and I finally got an interview that was about 5 minutes long in the principal's office. She was like, "Oh, you went to Occidental College?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, you start Monday. Here's the keys." I said, "That's it? Do you want to ask me any other questions?" And so, yeah, I got the keys to the classroom, 38 kids, a 4-5 split, and you figure out real quick if you can teach or not. And that's stuck with me throughout my entire career. You can't fake it in the classroom. It's either you could go to college and take a lot of art classes, but you're not a painter. You know what I'm saying? You take a bunch of teaching classes, but you might not be able to teach. It's more of an art, not a science. And I figured out fast that I was good at it. And thank God I chose that because I had a great time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, you had also mentioned something about 3 sets of siblings. That jumped out to me. Was that rare to have three sets of siblings?
In the classroom. Yeah. In that first class, there was, if I remember correctly, this is 2002. There was 3 sets of siblings and a couple cousins. Now this is a 4 or 5. So they were fighting and arguing with each other. And you try to write a referral. I wrote a referral one time for a kid. He used a bad word, maybe the N word or something like that. Wrote the referral down and sent it out. It was my first referral I ever wrote as a teacher. Kid came back 7 minutes later with a pencil and a sticker, and they did nothing, teacher. He threw the referral at me. I was like, "Oh, buckle up. We're gonna have to change some things around here."
It's like nothing.
Yeah, so we had to look at our discipline policy in my classroom real quick. And but I was young. I was 22 years old, fresh out of college, and still had I had a whole bunch of energy. This classroom still had a chalkboard, so you can imagine how long ago that was. But
I grew up with the chalkboard too.
We revert back to what we did as a student. So I'm pulling from veteran teachers that I had back in 1989. Just trying to figure out how to teach that first year.
So a lot of what worked for you and what didn't work, and flipping and frying and see what pancake comes down.
Exactly.
That's a fantastic. That's one of my favorite ways of learning. Yes. Pat, did you have anything? I've got more.
I was just reading this in the car on the way back from my job. I was reading the same thing. I saw the article with the LA. What was that voyage?
Yeah.
And then I also caught the end of that. But I was telling him about his comedy skit, Charles. If you had picked up, he actually was making fun of Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes.
You caught that one as well.
Because I was going to say, thanks to Mr. Gorton here, I've now successfully Googled Wisconsin man.
You have to.
I watched about 2 minutes and I was like, okay, let me
you got to find out who's in your area. Listen, whenever I go out of town for comedy or we're traveling, just type in that state and add man, and you'll get a whole rap sheet of what you're walking into. Now, the most famous one we know is Florida Man, right? Florida Man. He's done way too many things, but I was shocked to know that Wisconsin Man, serial killer capital of the world and whatnot.
It gets better. 8 days ago, some dude just killed his wife for an affair. So that's
the guy that stabbed his grandma or something on Mother's Day. And what's happening in Wisconsin?
We all want to yank on Florida, but damn,
I didn't think I was walking into such a gangster setting when I said it. And by the way, shout out to Comedy on State, one of the greatest comedy clubs in the nation. I had a great time there in Madison, right there by the Capitol.
It's a beautiful place. I was there a few times as a kid. Went to the zoo. We're gonna have to go again. There's a cave system about 20 minutes south of Madison.
And and all the bats.
Yeah. I love bats, but
that's not an activity that Black people do. We're not going to look through caves and look at bats. You let me know how that
goes. So listening
our business plan.
Listening to some of the jokes that you were talking, and then reading the story, I went and took the virtual tour of Occidental College.
Oh, did you really? Okay, good.
Yes. Listen, I love it. Oxy Tigers. Tigers. The swimming pool looked great, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I served with quite a few people, and if we were in a desert, they never got in the pool. So I'm not sure how that went off. The living quarters there too. They were tight for a moment there, but it looked gorgeous. There was a lot of art. How did you land in Oxy?
That's a great question.
Oxy?
I I thought I was quite the football player coming out of high school. I was a blue chip.
1% of their students are athletes currently.
Yeah, no, they have a great
Yeah.
athletic program.
Yeah.
But I didn't get any I got very few D1 offers, and then there was some coaching changes. So I was sitting literally in my bedroom senior year, like, I don't have a place to go. I'm gonna go walk on at San Jose State or do something to play football. And I got a phone call from Occidental College, Coach Marcus Garrett, and he's like, "You want to come play football in LA?" And I'm like, "Where are you at again? Like, where's Occidental College?" And I went down to the visit, and I loved it. And I played football for 1 year, and then I realized I need to graduate. It was expensive, and so I ran track for a couple years, and but that's what got me down there was to play football and run some track. They've got a beautiful history of track and field over there, great athletic facility. But once you get past that, the college is amazing. I'm still really connected to that through the Alumni Association. And I just recently was awarded in 2022 the Community Service Award for alumni.
Oh, congratulations.
As elementary school principal and all the things we did during coming out of the pandemic. Big shout out to Occidental College. Great people over there.
Yes.
So when he said that it was in LA, he should have just said the other school that's in LA.
Yeah. yeah, there's 20 colleges down there.
They had a fantastic virtual tour.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And only once was I interrupted with, "Hey, why are you here? Are you looking for more information?" No, actually, yeah, I've been down many rabbit holes, including one that led me to USA-231, which is a reconnaissance satellite we launched in 2011. Yeah, with the photograph optic lens, and the acronym for it was my last name.
That is a deep dive.
Yeah, it was crazy. And apparently Wikipedia is no longer wikipedia.com. It's now wikipedia.org.
Oh, licensing issues.
Yeah.
Well, they're always asking for money, right? They're always donate $5.
Yeah. Well, actually, now they're asking for photos of my culture and for me to send them. And if I win, I something. There's like some kind of parade or something. I don't know. Hey, man, listen, you could just Google Earth that shit. There are times that I am lost in the sauce, and I'm like, you know what? I want to go walk down a street somewhere random in Italy, and you just Google Earth it. And you're like, hey, everybody,
check out the old neighborhood, see,
yeah,
all the places you used to go to. Yeah, I've done that before. Google it. That's fun.
I constantly Google myself. It's fantastic. It makes no sense.
Probably don't want to do that too much.
you never know.
Look at the clicks up. See, you got to Google yourself every now and then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've done absolutely well, because I like to utilize Bing and Google are saying the same thing. The thing that I like with Bing is that it has this give with Bing. So it utilizes your searches, and then it generates some kind of Bitcoin type scenario.
Oh, nice.
And you can then donate your search points to either some type of cause or for points or for Xboxes or stuff like that, because it's ran through Microsoft. So I just donate the shit to St. Jude's. It ends up being like $9 a year or something, but it's $9 a year. And if I'm
St. Jude's is a great cause.
I love St. Jude's, man. Danny Thomas, the whole story there is just what they've done and where they've taken childhood leukemia from when it started to where it's at. I think it was like a 6% survival rate. And today I want to say it's like 97, 98%. It's just,
we got to take care of the kids, man. I think that's something that we in this country could prioritize a little bit more. Taking care of the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I went to Bing, of course, and this is how it led me to USA-231. But I was like, hey, Bing, who the hell is Eddie Gorton?
Yes.
And this is word for word from Bing's AI. So Microsoft powered AI.
Oh, no,
Eddie Gorton is a stand-up comedian and educator based in Los Angeles. He is also known as the principal of comedy.
Nice.
Gorton has performed stand-up comedy in various venues and events, including the stand-up morning routine. He is an alumni SEAL recipient of Occidental College.
That's right.
Gorton is scheduled to perform at the True Story event in January 2024. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Oh, there we go, Bing. I like that.
So now Bing obviously takes what it finds on the internet, the AI and everything. So you've done very well marketing yourself. I congratulate you with that. You are on a wonderful path. And everything I found about you so far online has been stupid positive. And stupid in a good word, because I didn't want to use hell.
That word. That tracks. Yeah. Well, I got to stay positive. I'm an elementary school principal and in a great little neighborhood. And I don't want to put anything out there that's not positive in that regard, because at the end of the day, I'm a role model to my own kids and to about 800 kids every single day. So I got to keep it real with that. But I also like to have a lot of fun. But I'm glad Bing is keeping me in a positive realm and not maybe like a
and
words, literally.
Yeah, hell,
fine line, boys. I walk a fine line.
Especially on the internet. No, something that I love. I'm a huge family man. I know Patrick is as well. And in almost every situation I found you in via the internet, you had mentioned some sort of your family. You're obviously a very big family guy.
Yeah.
Time is something that you were figuring out how to mold in your favor back in 2020.
Right.
How has that path continued moving forward?
Just trying to schedule all my things. Time, there's not enough time. I have an amazing wife, and she's home right now with the kids. That really, my partner in crime with that stuff. When I have a gig or a show or an educational event or work related, she's taking care of the family. So that really helps out with a lot of time. But I really try to compartmentalize my things. During winter break, I take time off, and I'm not doing shows. I'm with the family. So when there's time to dial into family, really go all in. Put my phone away when I can and just be with my two sons and my wife. And so that really is discipline when it comes down to it. This is time for comedy. And be all about that. This is time to be a great principal at a great school. There's time for that. And then shut that off and be over here with the third thing. So you've got to be disciplined with it. But I couldn't do it without my wife. Whenever I have a show, the boys good night, and I go hit the road or go hit the comedy club, and she's there taking care of them. So
but in a few moons, you'll be able to bring your roadies with you as time moves forward.
My oldest son is very. We roadies, me and my kids, right? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Family show.
Family show. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, my older son is really into comedy. We watch what we can, when we can, we stand up, and so he can't wait to come to a show and see me perform, or just take him to a show and see a bigger headliner. So yeah, they'll be joining me soon.
That's so fantastic to hear.
Charles, in your Google search, did you happen to find any of his role models for starting comedy?
No, I did not. I did not
find that either.
No. So if you could, what were some of your biggest comedy influences?
Yeah, let me take you back to the mid early 80s when I found my father's audio cassette tape of Eddie Murphy Delirious.
Oh my God.
Way too young to be listening to that. But whenever they left the house, back in the 80s, kids would be left in the house all the time, right? Okay, we're going to the store. Don't break anything. I'd pop that tape in and just laugh and rewind it and laugh again. So Eddie Murphy, I was a huge fan of that. And that was an 80s thing. As I got older, going through college, Cat Williams really just had me dying in the early 2000s. Obviously, Chappelle is the GOAT. And but now you're watching like TED Talks with him, right? It's just he's giving out informational sessions, which is great. He's a great speaker, so you want to just watch him talk when you can. But
I'm really glad things have gone much better for him. The spank that happened to him in the last few years with him and his money, that's a crazy business.
Yeah, with Netflix,
crazy world.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The advocacy that he's doing to allow people to be funny.
Yeah,
we gotta. If we can't protect comedy, we can't save the stage in the way that he's been advocating for.
It's okay to get up, and it's okay to get up and quietly leave if it's not for you. Like it's absolutely okay to just shut the hell up. And, these are options you have also.
Turn the channel, but also you don't want to punch down on people. You want to punch up. You want to know your role and where you are in the space. And there's a lot of funny out there. But we have to also recognize that a lot of that funny comes from pain, right? All the stories that I have aren't really funny stories. They were painful at the moment, or they were hard at the moment. But then you find the joke in them, and then people will go, "Oh my God, that's hysterical."
It's not exactly how it happened, but it's how I saw it in the end.
Exactly. I love what you said. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love those. I'm so glad you mentioned Eddie Murphy Delirious. I remember seeing that, and my uncle had this camper on the side of his house with just a big screen TV in it, shag carpet everywhere. I remember sitting down, and I think I've seen it start to finish one or two times, but I'll never forget the joke he said. He goes, "I get all pissed off because people go around and try and tell my jokes and they get it all effed up. So I'm going to give you one that's super easy and you'll never forget it. And he goes, a bear and a rabbit shitting in the woods. And the bear turns to the rabbit and goes, hey, you got a problem with shit sticking to your fur? And the rabbit goes, no, I don't think so. And the bear grabs the rabbit and wipes his ass. I swear I've told jokes my whole life, and I may have told that joke the absolute most. It was just
that's
him in that
joke.
red leather suit, man.
That sounds like early. Yeah, that's early Eddie Murphy. That sounds like a young 17-year-old Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah, that's way before. What was it? Big Daddy,
Raw, Delirious, all that stuff. Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. Yeah. Oh my God, those were some good ass comics. Those are some good role models. Also,
he never lost it though. I think what he told back in the day probably still pertains now to everything that's going on in the world. I mean, you could take anything that he said back then and just put it into today's context, and it probably matches pretty well with what's going on.
I was told a lot earlier, it's not what I'm saying, it's how I'm saying. And with comedy, and as time is going on, it's not so much what you're saying, or it's more, as you were, situational awareness, how you're saying it and where you're saying it. Absolutely. How has that approach been as a comic, walking that line? Is that more of a feel or a drive-by type situation?
Yes, it's got to be a feel. I perform right here in LA, and teachers from my school, parents from my school will come to shows. They're always welcome. But when I get on stage, I'm not trying to curtail the show for them. I'm here to do a comedy show. So I try not to go too far left or too far right, not to get in trouble with the major themes of things. I give them the show that they showed up for. At least I try to.
And that's inside your 10,000 hours quote. I love that. I've heard it a few times, and it's gorgeous. To be perfect at something, you must perform 10,000 hours of it.
10,000 hours, dude. And I think that's Malcolm Gladwell said that. And I think when I was mentioning that, it takes about 9.5 years to become an expert at teaching. You get that in about the 9.5 mark. But imagine to all those years before that, you're just trying to figure it out.
You're just
all the classrooms are just like test dummies.
Yeah.
And actually, I come from a family of teachers. My grandma was an English teacher. My sister now, she teaches one of those really young ones. She's laughing all the time.
She's a little kid teacher. She's
preschool or something, right?
Yeah, where they still eat glue and cut their sweatpants with scissors.
Yeah. There we go. That's kindergarten.
Kindergarten there.
We love our kindergartners.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's so fantastic. Now, when you were back in Oxy, we've been jumping back and forth, and but my conversations work in my mind just as they do outside for ADHD. Like a radio station, something about a radio station. What started that journey, and it ended very well. Is it still going today?
Yeah. So that radio station called K-Oxy, which obviously makes it KOXY, was founded right there my senior year. A buddy of mine, we secured the space for the radios, bought the parts, talked to the college, got it all up and running, created an infrastructure for what is now a budding student-run radio station where
That's awesome.
Current students can sign up to have their own show and talk about whatever they want to talk about on the radio. But that didn't exist in that format when we were there, but it was like our senior kind of, as we were leaving, let's create this. I never even got to benefit from being behind the mic of it. But it was like those spring senior projects where like, let's just do this for the future students of Oxy. I'm proud of that. Yeah.
It seems the more we dig into you as a person, as a human, you've been either conscious or subconsciously attempting to leave the place better than it was when you got here.
That's my thing.
I mean, I try to do that every day. I try to go to sleep thinking the day was better because I was in it, and tomorrow is going to be better than it was. And I hope to leave this place better than it was when I got here.
100%. I get that from my mom. That's something we talked about when I was a kid. Maybe it's even growing up in church, but that's got to be your mantra whenever you walk into a spot, and that's your reputation. How you enter a place is just as important as how you leave a place. And I definitely I'm really into legacy, right? So like when I'm gone, what are they going to say about what kind of story are they going to tell about Eddie Gorton when I leave the room, when I leave the place, when I leave the earth? What are they going to say about Eddie Gorton? So yeah, I don't mind me doing a little bit of work that I'm not going to see any benefit from. But now I know 20 plus years later, these kids are still on the radio at Oxy. That makes me feel damn good.
Yeah.
And that's what teaching's about too, right? You're planting seeds. every
Yeah.
single day you're in the classroom teaching. And then as a principal, it's a larger scale. I'm impacting instruction. I'm talking to students. I've got a great staff of teachers. And so all of that is legacy. All those kids' journeys start right there at my school. And I hope they look back and say they had a great damn time at the elementary school I'm at.
Yeah. What would you say has been the biggest change in teaching during your career?
Ooh, it's a loaded question. We really try to focus on the things we can control, not things we
Yeah.
can't control. So
Yes.
that takes parenting out of the equation for most educational jobs. We can't control that. So we want to take care of what we can in the building. But
Right. Which is
I would
always
say-
adapting.
I would say the way folks are parenting has changed over the years. That's no one's fault, but the way
Right.
society works. And so
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen the way kids behave and kids react and the type of response we can give when kids make mistakes. That has changed drastically over the last 20 years. Where
Yeah.
this is not at my school per se, but just in general,
course.
the phone call home from the teacher used to mean a whole lot more than it does now. I think that
Oh,
that is
yeah. I would think about, because I was the class clown.
You had
I mean,
nightmares about that when you get a phone call from
Oh
your
my
teacher.
God.
right. Yeah, but now it's like
when you left that class, they're like, "Yeah, I'm calling your parents," and I'm like, I thought about that the rest of the day.
You didn't want to
Right.
go
Walk
home.
home.
You didn't want to go home.
I was crying halfway through, but had to wipe the tears because I couldn't be a sissy. I don't know.
right. Now kids here, call them. Here's the phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
What number?
and it's not to get too deep in this, but it's really it's a fear-based model, right? So
Mhm.
we've had to change too. You can't teach from you better do what I say or you're gonna get in trouble, because once the kid's not afraid of that, then you've lost them already. So teaching perspective, teaching from love and respect and community has to
Yeah.
be part of that, because you're not gonna be able to keep driving this, you better do what I say or you'll get detention, you'll get suspended. All that stuff's for the birds now. You gotta really bring the love, the peace, and the community, and get the kids to buy in, intrinsically want to be there and do well. Because the other stuff is just fear-based. It doesn't work.
Being able to hear and speak, it's almost like this magic trick that seems to be fading away. But there are many teachers, many instructors that still continue to do that. And y'all adapt every day, every week to continue to attempt to get to the student in a way that allows that student to grow in its greatest environment. It's fantastic to see. I love teachers, man.
That's the task, man. That's the task. Every kid walks in the classroom with some armor or some baggage. And I'm not trying to butcher this Brene Brown quote, but our job is to create that safe space where they can leave that at the door and just come in and be a kid. And I love doing that, man. That just goes back to that legacy piece. I hope all my students, whether I was their principal or their teacher, look back and be like, damn, we had a great time. And that was a cool place to be at.
Yeah, I made many teachers probably rethink their career options, and I can't tell you how grateful I am that, for one, they didn't, and two, they continued to be who they were. I still like the tiny things. It's funny. I remember Miss Burns. She made this game about hell. I don't even know what helping verbs I think they are, but am, is, are, was, were, has, have, had, can, could, shall, should, will, would, do, did, does, may, might, must. And I learned it in like 4 minutes. And I was like, hell yeah, I won. And this is like 6th grade, man. I'm talking 20-some years ago.
I won that game.
I've gone to war and everything, right? I'm like, hell yeah. What, you need some helping verbs? I got you.
I did the war and back. I still
remember the helping verbs. Oh, don't worry, I got you. I got you one way or another.
I have to write professional emails for work, and I forget punctuation. I forget how to address people sometimes, especially when you're talking to people with like corporations and businesses. People are own Fortune 500 companies, and I have to respond to an email, and then I get the most nonchalant, weird response. Yup, or y'all okay? Y'all got that? I'm like, this is the president, the CEO of this company, and he's responding to me like this. I'm like, I really don't want to talk to this guy on the phone.
A real lax approach to typing, because everyone thinks they're emailing, but they go back to their texting, their relaxed texting mode. You know what I'm saying? So you ever get an email that says LOL, you got to question that.
Well, phones have made us dumber as a society. Like, we have to relearn a lot of things. Like, all right, we'll ask them right now. You are a principal. You are an elementary school teacher. When did they stop teaching cursive to kids?
I heard they're bringing it back.
I want them to bring it back because, man, I see some signatures and they're pretty bad.
Yeah, the writing's gone downhill fast. But listen, we've got to teach kids how to type. So once the keyboard came into existence, the kids had to turn everything online, and we've got Chromebooks. Then it became we can't have the kids pecking around, right?
No.
I look like the
I grew up in the hybrid stage where it was cursive and keyboard, and I pecked the shit out of the
But now, with AI and kids just grabbing essays off the internet, they're going back to kids saying, no, you got to write that right here in class with a pencil. And the kids are like,
oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So hopefully that's why cursive is coming back. But you can't lose that stuff, man. You got to be able to teach that. And
it'll be code sooner rather than later.
It kind of probably already is. How many people can even read it anymore?
You can't really read my signature, but that mine used to be gorgeous. I remember day one in MEPS. I remember sitting there and I get handed my first piece of paper to sign, and it's just elegantly gorgeous.
I never had good handwriting. I'm still bad at handwriting. My signature is a work of art, but my regular chicken scratch is tough.
Yeah.
I'm left-handed.
Copying it.
My stuff on my left hand is crazy.
Mandy always says this to me. She goes, "Your handwriting reminds me of some little child that like first learned how to do stick figures." And I said, "I'll take that as a compliment. I feel like I'm just about as bad at it as every other man."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at that.
He's over here trying to brag about his handwriting.
Teachers become like detective FBI agents when it comes to handwriting. If there's a note written, we can figure out right away. Oh, that's Joey, the way he makes his essays, or you can tell a girl handwriting from a boy handwriting real quick.
Yeah, you would know this too because of people not citing things anymore in school and college and that. I had a professor in college, and I don't know how he did it, but all I did is I took about 3 sentences off the internet and I put them in randomly throughout the thing, and he said I plagiarized it. And I was like, man, I don't think I did.
I don't
think I did. And like he highlighted those 3 sentences, and I'm like, how? Unless he Googled it, how? There's no way.
Yeah.
There's an entire safe.
They just know.
Those programs were not around when I was in college, boys.
No,
they are now. Every paper I plug in, it's got to go through this safe align system, and if it's 24% or greater matching likeness to something AI generated.
I'm sure if you put it in quotes, you say, as this author said, and put it in quotes. As long as
if we're being honest, you could just copy and paste it into Word, change the settings, remove the hyperlinks, and send it over if you really wanted to.
If you wanted to. Yeah.
But what are you learning then? That's the thing with me, right? Okay, so you're at college and you're faking your ass way through it, and then you get your degree and you go to your job and you're like,
you don't know shit, right? Exactly. No, but that's what's wrong in this country. With you heard about this professor in Princeton. This happened maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah,
he had been teaching the class for 30 years, never changed the assignments. It's always the same thing, but every year the kids were getting dumber and dumber to the point that a couple years ago where kids were failing, and he had the rigor, the difficulty of the class hadn't changed. The kids have gotten less smart, and they got him fired for being too tough. They would rather pass an easy class. These are like astrophysicists or future doctors, whatever it is. You'd rather have a doctor who had an easy class or a doctor that got an A in a hard class. Like, where's the gumption? Where's the fight?
We want to get an astrophysicist or some kind of person, because I know they have a mini, Charles calls it a hydrogen peroxide collider.
Yeah, the hydrogen peroxide collider.
They're pulling neutrons out, and I was like, I want to get somebody on there. I said, you got to explain it to me like I'm a child. Like, I want to learn. Like, we started this podcast because we want to learn stuff and we want to talk to people.
Right.
But you got to teach me like a little kid, because I don't know that stuff, and I'm not going to act like I do.
Well, that's fantastic.
I think we lost that, Charles.
The hydrogen peroxide collider?
No, I think we lost that the ability to learn a long time ago. Being shown
things.
Speak
for yourself, dude. I just got on the dean's list. I told you that a couple days ago. I'm 35, and anybody can do it. Anybody. Shit.
Anybody can do it. Yeah, anybody can do it for sure. Come on. Don't stop learning.
You just got to put your mind to it. And dude, I'm telling you, get out when you're on the crapper. I don't death scroll on the crapper. That's where I learned about bats. Holy crap. The amount I learned about bats.
Did you want to tell them about our business proposal here for bats? So Charles and I had one of these episodes early on in the podcast, and he found out that bats were like the number 2 pollinator in the world for
they pollinate over 300 different plant species or 3,000
like bees.
Yeah. They're like super pollinators, bro.
I don't believe bats are dangerous. Don't believe this.
Yeah, no, I went down a wild rabbit hole, dude.
And Charles, what was it? We wanted to start a bat farm.
Bat farms, dude. I want to start bat farms. I'll be called Batman.
With guano,
Yeah,
like Ace Ventura Part 2.
Yeah, like guano. I'll ship guano because these regulations on agricultures are so crazy. I'll make a killing.
No, the best part about it was the business name, Batman.
Batman, yeah.
And we're gonna have the Batman logo, but it's just gonna be a flower.
That is deep.
Well,
I'm sure you're good with Batman. That's not copyright or anything. I'm sure you're good.
No, it's all public domain. It's all public domain.
You're good. You're good. You're ready to go.
Good. Well, listen, Eddie, it's been fantastic. I don't want to take any more of your time. None of us. Listen, I want to give you a few moments to speak about yourself, any upcoming shows, and where everybody can find you and how they can find you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. So Eddie Gorton, principal of comedy, principal by day, stand-up comedy by night. You can find me on Instagram at Principal of Comedy. You can also go to my new website, eddiegorton.com. That's my name right there, eddiegorton.com. I got a shirt for sale on that website and a bunch of clips and past photos from past events. And I'm at the Comedy Chateau in North Hollywood, right here in LA, every other Friday. That's this Friday, and then every other Friday after that. So please check me out live if you can. Check out my website, buy a shirt, follow me on Instagram. And guys, it's been great. I'm really glad we did this. I'm glad we finally got a chance to link together, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm so glad you've been a wonderful person. It's I love people. I'm a big people person.
As you can tell, Charles and I really like shirts and jerseys and stuff, so we'll probably jump on there and get one.
Yeah, this shirt's great. It's real simple. It just says, "Wash your hands, don't be racist." That's all.
That is fit.
Oh, I like that.
I can't tell you how many times I laughed my hats off on that. Yeah, we'll be picking up that shirt.
That's all you need to do, man. There's two things in life. If you do that, you'll be okay. Hey, before I go, any Super Bowl predictions on my Bang Bang Niner gang? You guys still sore about the Packers game?
No. Packers played a good football game. 49ers just played Survivor much better, and it was fantastic. It was fun to watch.
Who we got in the Super Bowl? Who we rooting for?
I want the Niners to win. Charles believes that it's destiny, it's fate that Travis Kelce's going to pull that ring out of his shorts and he's going to propose on
That's
the
the only thing I'm thinking. That's the only storyline I'm thinking about is if he's going to propose, they're going to make sure they. Oh, what about Purdy? Mr. Irrelevant. That's a better storyline.
I love Brock Purdy. We have been a huge fan of Brock Purdy on this show. We have been a huge fan of the 49ers. The eye test tells me the Niners, but on paper, you've got the number 2 defense going up against the number 2 offense, and defense wins championships.
It's going to be huge.
But we can't bet in Vegas. If I was betting, it's Kansas City. I'd like Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey to win a Super Bowl, just like Mike and Ed.
Oh, that's another great storyline.
Multiple Super Bowls. Yeah, I think they won a few together. Yeah, so it would be nice.
On that San Francisco team that I'd really like to see win a Super Bowl. Trent Williams. All these guys that are around, they've been chasing rings for a minute. So
this might be the year, man. Listen, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely. Stay safe. If you ever need anything, man, give us a shout out. I can't wait to continue watching your journey. I'm so glad life brought us together.
Thanks, man. And I'll come back whenever you hit me up. I'll come back anytime.
Absolutely. We can't wait.
All right. See you guys.